least from what I've seen and heard, it's typically made the same way. But I thought I would just show you how I make it. So this is how I keep it in this little jar. It doesn't look like a lot, but I'd say typically when I'm using it, I only ever need this little spoonful. You can see the smokiness, I think, from that. I'll give you a little close-up. I typically don't grind mine down very fine. I kind of like mine to be a little chunky. Anyways. So typically, where I have a lot of stuff that, well, I have everything that I need for it already. It's stuff that I use anyways. When I'm making black salt, the first thing I typically start with, if I don't have any, is eggshell. So this is the same kind of container. It's a little harder to open sometimes. And this is ground down some. If I use this for certain things, I will grind it down some more depending. I get the not white egg shells, but I mean obviously the ones that I eat, and they're typically brown eggs, which is my preferred anyways, when I'm using them for anything. And this is what I use. I do not use this for anything that I would consume personally. This is just used for different things. My mortar and pestle. This I got from my mother actually years and years and years ago, and it is marble. It is very heavy. I was trying to see if there's a brand name on it or anything, but there's not. So yeah, I like to use this a lot, and like I said, it's very heavy. And sometimes I will just use this to break things down. Not necessarily even put it in here. So this is what I like to start with because it's kind of tedious. Usually I have a egg cooker that makes hard-boiled eggs, so I'll use that, get the eggshells from that, and clean them off, and get the, what's it called? Like the membrane, I don't know what you want to call it, the ooey gooey stuff in the lining of the egg that keeps the shell like together. You're gonna want to take all of that off so that you just have the eggshell, and yeah, break it down from there. Though be careful if you're not going to use something like this, because I mean their eggshells, they can cut you a little bit. So yeah, that's typically what I'll start with. And then the thing I have uses for, so I just keep them in a little jar. I keep anything glass and I use it to store things in. So yeah, I'll burn these and add the ash and the, like I said, leftover ash from the incense. I will also put in there. And when I say in there, I mean in this. Everything goes in here and it gets mixed before it's put in here. I typically use this for most things to mix, just because it's ceramic and it's easy to clean, and I don't know, it's cute. It's a little cauldron. But yes, the most important thing, obviously, that you want is salt. Now, I personally only use sea salt. Now there's two kinds that you can use. So this is the kind that I prefer. It's the Celtic sea salt. I typically will get the same type every time. Now, the problem with using that is that salt in particular is a little moist. So if you're not wanting to deal with that, I'd say you can go ahead and use this. Sometimes I will use both. Just a coarse sea salt. Now some more things that I will burn and add is, this is the only form of this that I have right now. But that is sage. So you can get sage not in a bundle like this. You can just get loose bits of it and burn it to add. Again, this is the only thing I have right now. I'm out of the loose sage. I think this is a specific kind. I'm not exactly sure. I can't remember. I bought it a while ago. But I will burn a bit of that to add in here. I don't ever really burn too much of anything to add, because I do small quantities. If you're gonna do a bigger jar, obviously you'd want to do more. I typically like to add about equal parts of everything to this. And then another thing that I will burn is rosemary, and I'll add this. Some people might burn bay leaf to add. I don't really have anything against it, really. I just typically don't. But I will burn rosemary and add it. This stuff is, like everything, when I say burn it, it's easier if you have a little tiny torch. And this is a sometimes. I don't do this all the time. Some Palo Santos. So, again, it's not all the time. These are just little chips that I have. This particular batch doesn't have any in it, but I just thought I would show it anyways. And then another important part, because this is where it gets its color from, is I will use these. You can use regular charcoal, but I use these little is iron. So, typically the way that anybody would get that is by using cast iron, like skillets and stuff, and use the scrapings from that. You could also use iron powder, I'm sure. If you're in a pinch and you don't have any of those things, but you have iron tablets or like supplements, you could probably use a couple of those as well. Trying to think if there's anything else that I add. I don't think that there is. It's pretty basic once you know what's in there. And like I said, of all the stuff I put in there, I'll show it to you again. Really, all you can see in here that I didn't grind down finally is the salt and the eggshells. The eggshells I typically get as small as I can. But again, I don't want to cut myself or anything. You can see my prints from putting this back on. Now, if you don't know what black salt can be used for, or maybe you've heard of it and know maybe a couple uses. The intention, I guess, of using black salt is to absorb negative energy, to block and protect you from bad intentions, bad energy. So like a recent use that I had used this for was a cord cutting. Now when I do a cord cutting, typically whoever is asking for the cord cutting, I will put a circle of this around their candle to protect them from the energy that they are cutting away from, right? This is also good for home protection. I know people that have put it in doorways, windowsills, in certain corners of their home. I mean, you could even keep some of this on you in a pouch or something. I'd say, I mean, the uses of this to me are limitless. I think it's always a good idea to ask, for protection when doing lots of things. I'm trying to think of other things that you can put in here that maybe just use something else in substitute of the charcoal. Not even necessarily that you have to add that to the salt, but if you can find something that has the same abilities, we'll say, you know, the same abilities as the charcoal to absorb and purify, just add it to whichever, I guess, ritual you're doing. I have some notes here that I'm just checking through. Yeah, I mean, you can, and I think I said that too, you can use basically any salt. My preference is sea salt, and if you're going to be making this and using different things, even if you're going to be using the same things that I use, I recommend looking up those things if you don't know necessarily why they're being used, what their uses are, why they're being added to the black salt. It's just good to know. Me personally, I will, even if I know the properties of something already, like what it could be used for, I will write it down anyways, because for me, writing stuff down and looking at it is a good way for me to remember it. I know that not everybody's the same, but I still think it's a good practice. Another use for this that maybe some people might not think of is if you do any works with deities. This might be a good offering for them, depending, but you want to make sure you look that up. I'd say yeah, just always look it up. I don't want to give any info on that, just because I have deities that use so much of it. So I like to give stuff out, like extra incense and charcoal, maybe a little bit of my dried herbs. Yeah. So again, I use sage, eggshell, incense ashes, incense sticks, rosemary, some